Alex Rowley, followed by Jamie Halcrow-Jones.
Presiding officer, the estimates put on the air departure tax being cut by 50% was £150 million. And if you take that to the conclusion that the Conservatives would like to go, that's £300 million. And the question has got to be asked, where would that money have come from? Where would those cuts have taken place in public services? And the credibility of the Conservative Party to come in here and shout about that when we know their budget cuts would have taken our £500–600 million out of public services in Scotland surely leaves them with no credibility whatsoever. So whatever reasons the government have brought about this U-turn in policy, it's got to be one that's welcomed. And we've got to recognise that as we address the climate crisis in this country, that we have to do so in a fair and equitable way. Indeed, a transition to a zero-carbon economy must be part, surely, of a broader programme for redistributing wealth and power in this country. I would want to quote from Rebecca Long-Bailey, Labour's Business Secretary at a UK level, and she pointed out that Britain is already one of the most unequal and regionally divided countries in Europe. Poorly implemented economic transitions threaten to further impoverish the poorest parts of the country that are already suffering the worst effects of deindustrialisation and austerity. If climate policy does not fundamentally address these problems, it not only risks accelerating them, but it will never receive mass support of British working people. And that surely has to be a key objective of every political party in here, that we build mass support across the country for tackling the climate crisis. And that's why I would turn to the SNP and say to them that, yes, of course, we should be working together to tackle the climate crisis, but we will not line up to support half-baked policy that has not been thought through. And if you take the supposed workplace parking levy, that is, in my view, a half-baked policy that has not been thought through and would attack working people, indeed threaten their very jobs. Where, for example, in Babcock and Rosyth, where workers travel for all over Fife, where there is not a good public transport system in place.
Point of order from Jamie Green.
Presiding Officer, this has got nothing to do with the motion, not a single mention of APD.
Excuse me, could I have some silence, please? Mr Green, that's for me to decide, not for you to decide. Okay, Mr Rowley.
Yeah, and if you read the amendment for the SNP, it's got absolutely everything to do with the motion and the amendment. But workers in Diageo travelling for all over Fife and much further afield in mid-Scotland and Fife, indeed, having to then end up paying a workplace parking levy. So it is not thought through properly, and it's a policy that would hurt workers. And can I just, because we're coming to the end of this, can I say that I have looked at Nottingham, where they have brought in this workplace parking levy, and the levels of emissions in Nottingham city centre have not been drastically cut as a result of this policy. So I welcome the decision by the government to back down on this. Let's work together, but let's ensure that we work together to come up with the right policies for Scotland.